Well, hello there, Kansas City. Stephen St. John here with another episode of Hot Mic with SSJ. And before we get started, I want to thank our amazing sponsors. First, my main man, Patrick Carter, KCFarmersAgent.com. He is here to help you complete your insurance picture, and he is a wonderful viewer and listener of Hot Mic with SSJ and Sports Radio 810 WHB. So, Patrick Carter with Farmers Insurance. Also, my friends at CBD American Shaman, CBDAmericanShaman.com. They have some wonderful products that have helped me recover from my back surgery. And so check them out at CBDAmericanShaman.com. And, of course, KC Grilling Company. You can check them out online, KCGrillingCo.com. What a great place to go and cross some people off your Christmas shopping list. They have a wide variety of specialty barbecue rubs, sauces, injections, smokers, accessories, and more. Rubs and seasonings, grills and smokers, outdoor kitchens, KCGrillingCo.com. And we have Trey Zink from Kansas City Grilling Company. KC Grilling Company here with us, a great sponsor of the podcast. Trey, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. You know, helping people get geared up for the holidays.
Yep, you got a lot of stuff going on out there. Tell us anything going on that we need to know about between now and Christmas. If we got that griller in our family or someone that loves to get out there and maybe smoke that Christmas ham, what do we got going on at KC Grilling Company?
Well, we are fully stocked and ready to go for Christmas. One thing we're currently running now is our 12 days of Christmas. We release a certain sale item every day starting Monday of this week, carrying on through Christmas Eve. They go progressively larger as you get closer to Christmas. We'll take 10% off an item for the day.
Right.
And it carries on. As soon as it's debuted, you can pick it up now until Christmas. And they just get bigger and better as you get closer to Christmas.
And what's the best way to describe where the location of, it's always fun to go to KCGrillingCo.com, but if people want to come out there and check things out, see a demo or whatever, what's the best way to describe where the location is?
We are at 16509 West 159th Terrace, which basically is the corner of 159th Terrace and Merlin in Olathe, Kansas, in the Arbor Creek Shopping Center.
So coming out and see, and you're the man. When are you? If they want to come out and talk to Trey, when are you usually there?
I am there Tuesday through Saturday.
All right, Tuesday through Saturday. Now, you are what competition? What do we call competition smoker? Competition bar pit master? What's your official title?
Competition cook.
Okay.
In my role, I cook on a team based out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I don't cook a lot. I've been lucky enough to cook on some big events, the American Royal, Memphis in May, and the World Food Championships, and collect trophies in all of those. From anything from desserts to winning the World Championship in whole hog two separate times.
So what's the name of the team?
It's the Shed Barbecue and Blues Joint out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
So you got the world champion whole hog?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I've seen you out there at KC Grilling Company when you've had that whole hog. So tell me how you won the world championship with the whole hog.
Well, it wasn't just me. It is a huge team. I'm just lucky enough to be on that team under the guidance of some other amazing pitmasters, Brad and Brooke Orson. And these are my barbecue family, and then my biological brother, Scott, actually is a pitmaster for them, so it runs in our family. We start with anywhere from a 230 to 250-pound Duroc hog, and we actually cook them in what is called we actually stand them up to where they look like they're running as they're being cooked.
Oh, boy.
The one you saw when I cooked at the store, we did what was a racer style where the legs are tucked under. It looks like it's laying down. These will actually be in a standing position. They've made a skeleton that we prop the hogs up on, we call the robo hog, has a trough to where we can put butters, herbs, vegetables, anything that we want to infuse the hog with from the inside. So as it cooks, there's about 6.5 pounds of butter marinating herbs and spices from the inside, as well as from the water pan under the smoker to the outside. So it's actually being seasoned twice as they cook.
So is there like a benefit to have it standing up like that?
Presentation.
Okay.
It's just an amazing sight when you open the cooker and the hog's standing there rather than just laying down, or when the people, like I kind of joke the autopsy hog where they're laying on their back and it's cut open and you see the ribs and everything. Presentation, definitely. You know, we can put them with lemongrass blowing wheatgrass to where they look like they're coming out of the grass. One of the big ones, since they're down on the Gulf Coast, they like to put Mardi Gras masks on them and look like they're out for the party. You can basically present them any way you want.
So where do you get these hogs at?
Those are Compart Farms out of Minnesota. Jim Compart provides some of the best whole hogs.
How much one of those whole hogs cost? Like if I want to get a whole hog and have you smoke it, like what
from
would
Jim? They're pretty pricey, but we can get them through like Bicklemeyer's and places like that. For the hog itself, is probably gonna run you $400 or $500, and then.
But do you have people like that have parties like, hey, Trey, I want you to come over here and I want you to have the presentation. I want you to smoke this whole hog and we're going to get down.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. More in the spring and the summer. There's weddings that want them. They want the whole hog presentation. So you cook it up, have it on, take up a whole 6-foot table and do the whole thing. We'll dress it out. We'll put greens and carve flowers out of peppers and stuff like that and make it actually look really nice and presentable. And then we'll cut them open and serve everybody hot, juicy pulled pork.
So like a 200, 250-pound hog, how many people does that serve?
I don't know. We've always had leftover pork.
Oh, yeah?
So it'll mainly, when you go to cater, it's usually about a quarter pound per person.
Okay.
So do the math. It's probably, 400 or 500 people easily.
So you also said desserts, like award-winning desserts. Like what are some of those?
Josh DeWitt, one of my coworkers at KC Grilling Company, has a frozen banana caramel cheesecake that is just almost unstoppable.
Oh, we can cuss, by the way, if you want.
It's goddamn ridiculous, to be perfectly honest.
Now, say that again. There's a lot of layers to that, what you just said.
It is a frozen banana pudding cheesecake that's got salted caramel and whipped cream on top.
Oh, my God.
It's just dumb, and I don't think it's placed any less than second. It's got perfect scores at the American Royal the last 3, possibly 4 years running.
And so you make it out there or whatever. Like, what are the requirements you have to?
Usually the structure, it has to be made. Most of it has to be made on site, but since it's frozen, we bring it in. But he makes it all by hand, and it's ridiculous. He'll do that. We have another chef friend that makes the caramel. My sister makes a vanilla infused whipped cream. And it's just ridiculous. It's like a 5-person effort to make.
So can you order one of those, or is that just
that? You'd have to talk to Josh. I'm sure he'd make one.
Have to get Josh on the phone here in a little bit.
Yeah, he'd probably make one. They're tasty.
So what's your go-to? What's the thing that you're known best for, as far as competition or just you personally?
Whole hog is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
it's not especially around Kansas City. It's not done a lot. It's getting there in the craft barbecue world. It's kind of coming alive here in Kansas City, which is awesome. There's people that are embracing the whole hog lifestyle. And
what's some people would say that I've been living the whole hog lifestyle since I was in college.
Me too. But no, there's a lot of guys like Tyler Harp. He's a big whole hog cook. He's just opened a barbecue joint in Raytown, I believe. I think he finally went brick and mortar, and he traveled around the country and studied under some of the greatest pitmasters and has embraced whole hog. He'll do whole hog cooks. We just did a party in the pit that embraced the history of Kansas City barbecue down at Fox and Pearl about a month ago. And they did a couple whole hogs and then showed some of the best and brightest in Kansas City, got to show off their barbecue. And they brought in influencers from around the country to check out this event, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I was invited to that, but I just had back surgery, so I couldn't go. And
you missed a
show.
You missed a show.
God,
it was ridiculous. Some of the food that was thrown down there was pretty stupid.
What was the best thing you ate down there?
The pastrami burnt end from Scott's Kitchen.
That sounds good.
Over by the airport.
Pastrami burnt ends.
Yeah, he went full tilt on that. And it was
okay.
Todd Johns from Plowboys, his beef on weck, is a bison, like a pulled bison sandwich. It was pretty ridiculous.
Okay, so for the people that are watching this on YouTube or listening on the podcast, okay, so let's say somebody is a novice, and they don't hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever else, and they want to get into this. They want not so much competition, but they want to smoke their own meat. So they want to take that that first step? Somebody comes in the KC Grilling Company or someone asks for your advice. What's the best way to get started? So, because this, I mean, like listening to you and all this stuff with the whole hog and everything, that can be very intimidating. And some people don't know what they're doing. So, like, if you're going to advise someone to start off, like, what's the best thing you can tell them?
First off, get a good thermometer. That'll be the first piece of advice we give anybody.
Get a good meat thermometer.
An instant read thermometer.
Is there a certain kind, like you said, an instant read? Is there a certain one you need to get?
We kind of promote the ThermoWorks brand, but there's a lot out there. Just get a quality one. ThermoWorks seems to be the best in my opinion.
You got to get the meat thermometer, people.
And then start with something easy. We always kind of recommend a pork butt because it's got the biggest window of finish temps. It's kind of hard to screw up.
That's the one that's the tough, the idiot proof.
Pretty much.
So pork butt.
Yep, you've got a 25-degree window from when it's technically done to almost ending, but there's really not bad pulled pork. There is.
It'd be tough to fuck that up though. If you mess that up, you probably
you had to
shut
work
it down.
You had to work on it.
What about? We've talked a lot about this, and I don't know if you guys have totally adapted this as the Nate Bukaty special. But what about that 3-pound bologna chub? I'd like to get my hands on that and smoke that.
That is painfully simple.
Okay, that's something I could.
Yeah, definitely. Those you basically find a binder. A lot of people use mustard. I prefer to use duck fat in a can, just because I think the whole mustard on barbecue thing was thought up by a hot dog vendor. But in this case,
you don't like that.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
I don't believe that it tenderizes the meat because I don't know how that little bit of vinegar and mustard is going to get into the meat and the time it's there. But that's a whole science thing. Use your binder of choice. Get a good barbecue rub you like, whether it's sweet, it's hot.
Now you have your own line of stuff, don't you?
I don't. Josh that works with
Josh does.
He's got his JDQ line. He's currently got a sweet and a spicy.
So what's your favorite rub then to use?
My favorite rub on a bologna.
Yeah,
just in general.
Or in both.
On a bologna, I like a decent barbecue rub like Josh's JDQ Sweet.
Okay,
runs really well. Good color, good flavor. A lot of people will score the bologna. They'll just cut lines or hash marks, however they want to do it, to let the flavor get a little deeper, the smoke penetrate that meat a little bigger. Because that 3-pound chub, is 8 inches across, so you're going to want to get some flavor.
That's right.
You just don't want the crust on the outside.
All right,
and then run it on your temperature in your cooker, about 250 degrees. For a couple hours till that bologna gets hot because it's already pre-cooked. So you're not really cooking. You're just adding a little bit of flavor.
So then what kind of, for someone starting off, what kind of smoker should they look at getting if they want to start doing this?
It really depends. If you want to learn fire management, a good offset smoker is kind of nice. Whether it's an Oklahoma Joe's, $500 Longhorn that you're building your fire in an offset firebox and you're learning to run dampers.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now. Running dampers and fire, it sounds already over my head.
Right, and then they've got drum smokers, Gateway drum smokers. Kelly Wirtz has his own line of smokers, Hunsakers. They're basically a 55-gallon drum that have 2 air intakes and an exhaust. You start a fire in the basket, and then you're cooking in a drum. That's kind of the new, I don't want to say new trend, but it's a trend that's taking over, kind of a hot and fast barbecue. You're cooking stuff in 3, 4, 5 hours.
It's like hot and fast. If you don't have as much time, you want to get to it.
Don't have as much time. Like if you want to come home and cook, you start that fire, you're ready to go in 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, so it's the holidays, and hopefully, we got, this is, at the time we're doing this, we got about a week and a half to Christmas, right?
Right.
And so if you're responsible for the ham or the turkey, do you have any tips or anything fun or anything, any ideas if someone's going to be cooking for the family, or if they're responsible for something, or even like I don't know, you've got something that looks very delicious right here. Any tips or anything fun that you could have the listeners or viewers of the podcast put together for the holidays?
Boneless turkey breasts seem to be a big hit. That way you're not cooking a full bird.
Right.
Cook times are down to under 2 hours. Thanksgiving at my house, we ran just turkey breasts rather than a full bird. And
you just put them in the oven, or you put them in the smoker? What do you?
Both.
Okay.
Because not everybody likes smoke. So Normally I'll do a couple different flavor profiles, you know, one sweet, one more savory.
Well, give me a tip, like give me something that's going to separate my turkey breast from everyone else. Then when I serve the same, they go, "Oh, what the hell did you do to this?" I can't tell you. It's a secret. Give us a little something.
If you really want to blow them away,
I do.
You can brine and inject, or just pick one. If you're going to inject, there's tons of commercial injections. My favorite is actually using melted Kerrygold butter.
Melted
butter.
what?
Kerrygold butter. It's an Irish cream butter.
Kerrygold butter, melted butter.
And inject that into your turkey breast, then season it, and then smoke it.
And is that fat and calorie free? The injected.
Sure, if you want to believe it.
So you inject the butter into the turkey breast. Mm-hmm. I got Ben making notes down here. So you inject the butter, then what else?
And then hit it with whatever rub you desire.
Okay.
And put it on your smoker in about 95 minutes. Approximately.
Temperature?
Run your cooker at about 250, 300 degrees. Again, we're going to go a little hotter and faster on this, and it's going to be done in about 90 minutes.
What if I'm just going to do that in the oven in the kitchen?
Same thing. I would go a little shorter time because you're going to be a drier heat. So just watch you don't have the moisture from Mother Nature pulling air.
Is that better?
To be a little drier.
Is that better tough to find? Is it everywhere? Or like
we've got them in stock at our store.
Okay, so and you can get, like you said, you've got the Bologna Chub and other meats at your store.
We've got tons of meat in our store, from $200 Wagyu briskets.
Oh.
We've got Wagyu hot dogs. If you've never experienced Wagyu beef and you want to kind of dip your toe in the pool.
What are we talking about here? The Wagyu hot dogs. How much
Wagyu
those run
hot
you?
dog, about $12 a package. There's 5 hot dogs.
That ain't bad.
Package. No, and they are phenomenal.
Can you really tell the difference, though? You
Yes.
put when them bad boys on a bun, do you eat those normal or?
I mean, look at me. I can destroy hot dogs just by looking at them. A Wagyu hot dog, I've got maybe 2 and I'm done.
What do you put on a hot dog, a Wagyu hot dog?
I am a fan of just relish, onion, and a little bit of mustard.
What if you see someone putting ketchup on that thing? You slap it out of their hands.
I kind of look the other way in disgust.
But relish, some onion, some mustard. Okay, you don't want to do too much of that.
Nope.
The Wagyu hot dogs.
Wagyu hot dogs.
What else do you have out there that might be fun for the holidays?
We carry Prairie Fresh bacon, which is pretty ridiculous. They did a good job. They've released it's their USA Prime, so it's the top 10% of their carcasses. It's gonna be the best pork belly they start with.
The top 10% of the carcasses, ladies and gentlemen.
You can fry it up like normal, or in this case, like I did here. This is a candied bacon.
Here's what I want to get to here. Now, what do we have here? This is a very nice presentation so far.
This is a candied bacon. It's utilizing both the JDQ rubs I spoke of. Super simple if you want to treat just to, sit here and eat. They make great garnishes on Bloody Marys. An interesting take on a BLT if you want a little sweet on your savory sandwich.
But this could be something like a little appetizer for Christmas or something.
I know people that will take these and actually wrap up like 4 or 5 strips of bacon and parchment paper and a ribbon and use them as a stocking stuffer or a gift. Is for somebody to eat.
It'd be pretty good in your stocking. Have some bacon in there.
It's a pretty simple recipe. I mean,
okay, so can we give it out?
Oh, sure,
okay,
sure.
So first of all, can I grab one of these? Or
help yourself. There's layers of parchment paper. There's tons in there.
Ben, come in here and get some of this candied bacon. Don't act like you don't want some. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and sample this way. Tell people how to make this.
Okay,
all right, here we go.
I prefer a thick cut bacon. Lay it out on a cookie sheet. Make sure you put some parchment paper or foil underneath because it does make a mess. And if you've got cooling racks to separate your bacon up out of the tray, works the best. Lay it out. I'll take, in this case, I took a habanero cherry rib glaze that we carry at the store, brushed it on the bacon, sprinkled the JDQ sweet rub.
And what bacon do you use for this?
I use the Smithfield hickory smoked.
Okay.
And then, where was I? Okay. We put the rub down, and then I put brown sugar, just kind of sprinkled where it's even. And then I came across with the JDQ spicy rub. So you're getting the heat, the sweet, kind of all in. Well, I didn't go crazy with the heat because some people don't.
Right.
They don't like a lot of heat. Set your oven to 400 degrees and sit it in for about 20 minutes. Took it out. When you can see the brown sugar is melted, I come back in with the hot rub again, hit it just a little bit more, put it back in the oven for about 15 more minutes. So you're looking at a 30-minute cook time, 35 minutes. Pull it out of the oven and then let it cool so the brown sugar hardens.
Right.
And then there you go.
Holy
you
shit.
can put it in the oven or back in the microwave for about 4 or 5 seconds to bring it back to life. I like it cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's ways.
Yeah, I do too.
See, I prefer it cold, but I know people that like it hot. You can do it in your smoker, in your oven. I did that last night in the oven.
So how long total prep time, everything else?
Prep time, you've got about 10 minutes. I mean, I cut it in half just to make it a little easier to transport, and more servings out of that pound of bacon.
But everything you need is a KC Grilling Company.
Yes. Yep.
So, like if you're going somewhere, like like for Thanksgiving, my son hosted, and for Chris is going to my dad's. Make some of that, right? Make a couple trays of that, and then you're good to go.
And you can even take it even further. I know people that will take that, and then they will melt milk chocolate and drizzle over it.
Oh,
so
shit.
it adds another layer of.
Now, see, I don't know. Do you like
flavors.
that?
Like one piece, and then I'm done. Yeah. Another one, I like to take it when it's still soft. You know, the old school pretzel rods you used to get, like they were a foot long.
Oh, yeah.
Little half-inch pretzel.
Sure.
Take that, wrap it around, put it back in the oven, and let it wrap around that pretzel. That bacon grease gets in the pretzel, and it's just adds another layer of crunch. You can candy both sides. I generally only candy one.
So that's just one side?
That's just one side. I mean, you can flip them over and do both.
Let's see what Ben says.
But it's
I could eat like 10 trays of that shit.
It's a simple. There's tons in there,
right?
And you can go hotter. You can go just straight brown sugar.
Okay, so
You did smoke that?
No, that's just that's their hickory smoked bacon. The smoke's already pretty intense on that. Like I said, I did that in the oven, and it's about 35 to 40 minutes from unwrapping the package to pulling it out.
Okay, so tell me the rubs again and the glaze. What were the ones you used?
The glaze I used on it is a Texas pepper jelly. It was a cherry habanero.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I just brushed it on, sprinkled the JDQ sweet rub. Again, a layer of brown sugar. There's probably a half a cup to a cup of brown sugar involved. You know, maybe not even 10 shakes of a shaker of rub. So it's very little rub on there. And then after you go in to make sure it's not burning, flip them around in your oven that first 20 minutes, I hit another light layer of the spicy rub so it just kind of sits on top. So that's one of the first things your tongue hits. You get the spice and you get the sweet and then the savory from the bacon.
Put that in the competition.
It's been in the competition. Everybody makes their own variations of
right.
They like to call it pig candy.
Pig candy. I like that.
Yeah. And it's pretty ridiculous, simple to make, and I don't know many people that don't like it.
You can get this all at KC Grilling Company.
For sure.
And, man, and you guys do some fun things, some demos and things like that out there.
We do. We're trying to get back to where every weekend we've got demos. We're working on it. The weather makes it a little funky to have outside guys come in and cook, but usually we'll try on most weekends to, whether we're demoing products we've got in the store or we bring in an outside guy that's got his own line of rubs and they want to promote their rubs or their cook team, but we try to utilize everything that we have in store. So you come in for that demo, you can buy everything on site that day. You know, we'll feature a rub. We'll take a pork tenderloin, something super simple, and pair it with a rub and a sauce. You can come in and try that. We'll make a slider, or we'll slice up a baguette, put a slice of pork on there with some barbecue sauce. You can try it that way. Just something simple to where you can see what these rubs and sauces taste like cooked. Because all our rubs have testers. You can come in the store, open it up, smell it, put some in your hand, try it. That way you're not spending $13, $14 on a jar of rub and you get home and be like, this is awful.
Right.
That guy at the store didn't know what the hell he was talking about. You know, taste is subjective. You know, I put this rub out. There's some I don't like out of the jar, but I like cooked. And vice versa. I like out of the jar, but I don't like cooked. You know, once the heat's applied, the oils open up and they all behave differently. So,
but you can get everything
we can
said,
get everything.
You've got the meat out there. You've got everything from beginning to end.
We've got
you need.
some Wagyu steaks. We just brought in some fillets and top sirloins that are Wagyu, so people can start trying to where they're not dropping $150 on a Wagyu steak. They can come in, they're under $50. We've got tenderloins, like I said, turkey breast, pork shoulders, ribs, beef ribs, pork ribs.
So when's the next big competition?
Really the next big one for us is when pigs fly. It's in Chaffee, Missouri. It's an indoor barbecue contest.
Okay, so now where's this? We're at Missouri. I'm not familiar with that town.
Southeast Missouri, where your Smoking Brothers Smoker was.
Okay.
Made. It's actually sponsored by them. It's an indoor barbecue contest.
So how far is it from Kansas City?
About 5 hours.
So is that open if people want to go down there and really?
I think they can go see it.
Right.
It's a more one of our two of our sponsor teams are going, one to coach and one to compete.
And this is When Pigs Fly.
When Pigs Fly. It's in it's the second week of January, second or third week of January.
What is it, all whole hogs or like what?
No, it'll be like ribs, chicken brisket, that kind of like a normal KCBS style barbecue contest, and they pit first responders against each other. You know, police versus fire. We know how that goes. They love each other. They love to fight. So they get to brag. One of our teams, Josh DeWitt and Jeremy Williams, are going to go down and coach, and then Ryan Kane and Joel Fleetwood are combining to go down and actually compete in this.
All right. You going down there?
I'm not. Somebody's got to stay and work the sport.
That's right. Someone's got to be the adult in the family. All right, so let's get controversial here. What's the best barbecue sauce in Kansas City?
In Kansas City, I'd probably have to go Slaps Spicy.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't bottle. Joe, you need to get on that.
Joe, get on this. Bottle it, and I'll sample it right here on this podcast.
But his original slap sauce is just dumb. It's one of the best.
One of my favorites was always, because I grew up on, was Bryant's, the original Bryant's.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or tomato.
Right.
Yep, the old school barbecue sauce for sure.
Okay, so here's another question. I had a couple of friends of mine debating this. Kansas City barbecue, the best. And I'm not talking about, you know, a restaurant or whatever else. I'm just talking about, like, you know, burn-ins, pulled pork, brisket, ribs. What's the best example of Kansas City barbecue? Like, okay, I think most people think like Texas barbecue. That's the best brisket. Like people in Memphis love like the ribs or the rendezvous ribs.
Right.
And I think most people will say Kansas City's burn ends. What do you think Kansas City? To you, when I say Kansas City barbecue, what is that?
A burn end.
And they got that over everyone else.
I think so. Yep.
Right?
Yep. They do them correctly. They're doing them from the point. They're not cubing up a whole brisket to make burn ends.
So what's that? So what's the difference between the Kansas City burn ends and what other people try to do?
Well, I've seen people take a whole brisket and cube it up. The brisket is actually two different parts. It's a flat and a point.
But that's not a burn end. They're just
cube brisket.
Right.
But yeah, if you can do a burn end right, you can pretty much handle anything else in barbecue.
Next to Kansas City, what's the best what region has the best barbecue?
I think I'm contractually obligated to say the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Is that right?
But they do. They really do well. They kind of embrace a Kansas City sweet style, very similar, heavy sauce oriented, but they do some of the best pork down there I've had, some of the best sausage. So I like it all. I mean,
right.
I appreciate it all. I like the Carolina regions for barbecue, which is just chopped hog.
Right.
You know, the South Carolina, that's what
all
barbecue
it is.
They chop up the whole hog, give you a nice vinegar and mustard based sauce, and put it on a bun, and that's barbecue to them. They don't do beef. They don't do chicken. It's just chopped hog.
What's the best barbecue dish you've ever had in your life? If someone told you can only have one more barbecue dish, you can go back and get it from whether it's a competition, it's a restaurant, whatever you've had. What's the best thing you've had in your life?
Best thing I've had in my life. It was 3 years ago at the American Royal.
Oh, this is very. You already had. You didn't have to think very hard.
No, I don't have to think hard at all. It was a ground pork smash burger that Chef John Paul did for Prairie Fresh.
A ground pork smash burger.
Yeah, he did. And he had this crazy sauce that he made on it with the caramelized onions on the flat top smashed into the burger. Hands down, one of the best bites I've ever had.
Is that just like a one and done? We can't get that nowhere else? Is that just it?
It was something he made for that event. And then 2 years ago, he did it for Operation Barbecue Relief's anniversary golf tournament. He did them out on a hole.
Right.
And it was like, okay, I've got to get out there because I was teaching the barbecue basics boot camp. And I was like, I've got to find a way to get out there and had it again. So he does it for certain events and stuff like that. But it's generally anything that man makes is.
Can you let me know when you think this thing might be available at an event near me?
For sure.
Like, I mean, the way you've talked, you just went right to that. You didn't even think about it.
I didn't even think. He did these. It was a grilled pork chop that was just spicier than I'll get out this year at the American Royal. That was a close second.
My God.
But that man can cook. He's amazing.
And what's his?
It's Jean-Paul Bourgeois, I think. It's a French last name. I'm probably murdering it.
That's all right.
But he's a hell of a guy, hell of a cook.
Was he local? Where's he at?
He's out east somewhere.
Let's get this man in the Casey Grilling Company.
He's done barbecue right. I mean, he's one of the few guys I know that Ford sent him a Bronco.
Oh, wow,
so,
really?
You know, he's doing something right. He's big in the outdoors, you know, a lot of duck. I mean, a lot of waterfowl and that kind of stuff. So I see why they did it.
All right, so for the people that right now their mouth is watering hearing about all this stuff again, and you've been a sponsor of the podcast now for several months, and we appreciate that. So tell people, number one, if they're looking for some gift ideas for the barbecue lover or the smoker in their life. Number two, just tell us more about Casey Grilling Company. You don't have to be intimidated. You come in there, and that's the great thing about you guys. You're more than willing to help people, whether they're beginners or they're experts, and give them the right tips. And so tell people what they need to know if they want to come out there and do some Christmas shopping, or if they just want to get started and maybe at some point be competitive. Or if they just want to have fun at home, what can they do?
Sure. Like you said, come in. Don't be intimidated. Ask the questions. There's literally no stupid questions, because I'd rather answer your question than you make a mistake, get frustrated, and never do it again.
Right.
You know, just say, screw this, I'm done, I'm never cooking again. If I had a quarter for every question, how do I smoke a turkey? How do I cook a prime rib from Halloween to New Year's? I wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
I could retire. But, you know, we'll answer any question. We can set you up in anything you need to start. If you have questions on where do I start, we'll talk to you. Do you want to manage a fire? Do you want a push button? Do you want a pellet cooker? Do you want to manage your fire? Do you want a giant offset? Do you want something that you can travel with? I mean, we've got all those options. You know, we have the griddles, which are the new things to have the Blackstones and the Locos.
See, that's my next thing that I want to get. I want to get out there and do the hibachi for my family, and I want to do the street tacos, and I want to do the breakfast, everything. Like I'm a Town Topic.
You will cook everything on it. They're fun.
They're fantastic, aren't they?
The last probably 18 months, 2 years, they've been the in thing to have.
Is Blackstone is that the best one? I know that's the most popular. Is that the best one to get?
We've got Blackstones. I'm kind of partial to the Loco brand. It's a newer brand that's come out of Texas.
And what is Loco?
Loco.
Oh, I like that.
They're painted in a Porsche white. They're just a little more fit and finish. They're good griddles. I know Traeger's coming out with one in January called the Flat Rock, I believe is what they called it. Pit Boss has a couple. I mean, everybody's making them right now because everybody's buying them.
That's what everyone wants.
So, yeah, it's what everybody wants. And we've got full lines of accessories for those.
You do the smash burgers. You do all of it.
We can teach you how to season them and get them ready to go. How to take care of them.
What's the price range in those? Because that's what. By the way, that's what I want. Family. For Christmas,
anywhere from $200 up to $1,600.
Oh, so just depending on the size, you can get in.
You can go for
$300.
I can put you one that sits on a tabletop for under $150, and we can sell you one that's got air fryers and warming drawers on it for $1,600.
The air fryers and warming drawers.
If you really want to go crazy,
that's top of the line right there.
So, and when you come into the store, don't be like I said. Do not be afraid to ask questions. That's what we're there for. We'll sit down. We'll talk to customers. We'll probably talk. We'll give them more information than they ever wanted to know. We're good about rambling on about barbecue because that's what we love it. We're passionate about it, and that's why we're there. We kind of orient our store around the backyard cooks. Comp cooks know what they want. We're just there to help to facilitate those needs. We get them what they want. They hang around. Hell, you never know who could be in our store when you come in. You know, you could be talking to a guy that's won multiple grand championships.
Sometimes I'm in there and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Now, and people accuse me of making this up. Do you or do you not have a 3-pound bologna chub?
We do.
That's a real thing.
We have multiple.
I didn't make it multiple. You see that, Nate Bucati? Everyone knows now.
From Me's Wholesale at 103rd and State Line. Or not, sorry, no, that's Fritz's. I'm sorry. Me's is our other wholesaler.
Right. But you go out there and get it at Casey Grilling Company.
Yep, right now. We got them in stock.
All right, and ask for Trey.
Yep.
All right, and you can, and then if they get you out there, you can get, once again, or you just watch us again, get this recipe for the candied bacon.
Yep, come in. I'll be glad to give it to you.
And tell people where it is again.
We are at 159th and Merlin in Olathe, Kansas.
KCGrillingCo.com. My man Trey Zink. Thank you so much for the time. Next time we have you on, maybe Oh, I don't know. We could do like bring some of that whole hog. Do another whole hog in here.
We could do that. I'm getting itchy to do a hog. Even if I do one on the side, I'll give you a call. You can come up.
What we'll do is we will go and look. We travel. We got the cameras. Next time we do the whole hog, we'll bring the camera crew out there.
Okay.
We'll get Ben and we'll get Paige out there early, and they can help you. What prep could they help you do? Is there something we could put them to work on?
Well, it's always fun because you never know what shape the inside of the hog is going to look like when you get it.
Right.
There still could be some organs you got to pull out. There's all kinds of fun.
You pull out some organs, we'll send them out there. That's what I want. Have Ben and Paige pull out some of these organs and get this whole hog ready for a big party. Sure. All right, Trey? That's my man Trey Zink from KC Grilling Company, kcgrillingco.com. Until next week, the microphone is off.